Our next presenter is Jason, a fellow unicorn in the world of healthcare, a male occupational therapist. So I feel really connected to Jason, and I see a lot of myself in him, which I just want to say out loud. But I'd say that this project is just another way to for us to nerd out, because I have a lot of interest in video games and passion for video games. So I'm glad that Jason was able to take this interest of his and this passion of his and apply it to a population that really needs this sort of engagement. So the title of his project is Socialization Leveled Up, Creating Inclusive Social Opportunities Through Accessible Gaming.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason. When I look at this image, I see 3 years of learning, growing, questioning myself, just trying to figure out what kind of occupational therapist I want to be. And honestly, this is the first time I would say I felt proud of myself, accomplished, also exhausted, all at the same time. So that brings it to why this project? Why create social opportunities, and why am I using accessible gaming? Well, it kind of connects with me on a personal level. I know what it's like to not really have opportunities to socialize. I think a lot of us can relate, especially during COVID, when things shut down. Just being in Michigan in the winter, I don't know. For me, winter sucks because I can't go out and do anything. And I was just thinking how when you don't socialize, it really affects your health. To me, socialization isn't just showing up and talking to people. It's, I'll say, 3 things: participation, connection, and belonging, which affects your meaning in life. If you don't have those and your meaning is affected, it affects your overall health and well-being. And I remember reflecting too back when I was first thinking about what I want to do for my capstone. Former professor of ours, Dr. Nori, gave me this idea of a social wellness program. And I thought, yeah, why not? That sounds pretty cool. And I remember thinking too, how I mentioned my own personal life, when I didn't really have social opportunities, that was tough. And I thought, well, how much more difficult is it for someone with a disability? Someone who already feels like they're being judged when they're out and about in a wheelchair, or maybe have some sort of speech impediment, can't use half their body, etc. So that's what brought me to gaming, because I remember too, growing up, I loved to game, as Dr. Hill mentioned. It's always been an important part of my life. And I just remember the memories growing up, just inviting friends over, playing Mario Kart, and just having a good time. I remember too, sometimes you invite a friend and they bring a stranger over, one of their friends. And it was through gaming you connected. You laugh over a game, you come to life and you open up. And through there you form a connection. So I thought, why not the same with adaptive gaming, which I wasn't even aware of until actually through one of our classes. I believe it was our innovations class, that adaptive gaming existed. But the issue here wasn't helping people engage in gaming, it was through socialization. So I thought, why not just use that as a tool? Eventually, I came across Level 11 through an organization known as Able Gamers Charity. They actually connected me with my capstone mentor, Matt, who works for Able Gamers and is subcontracted to them. He told me how this was an awesome idea, since he himself runs an adaptive gaming program. Matt is actually in the middle, in case anyone was wondering. And they liked the idea of me trying to help build a community there. And I realized more how important this was when I actually spoke with participants at Level 11. A lot of them would tell me, I come in 1 hour a week, I socialize with the therapist, I socialize with other patients there, and that's it. I go home, I don't really do anything. And for a lot of them who weren't born with a disability, it was different. They were out and about, talking to friends, going out, and then, for example, an accident happens, you end up with spinal cord injury, and your whole world flips upside down. And now, not only are you disabled physically, you can't even go out and talk to people. So as that developed, I remember speaking with Matt and even the director of therapy there, Mandy, who's actually in the background. And from there, based on their feedback and the feedback from the participants, I developed what I called the Midwinter Social Gaming Series, which was a series of social wellness events that, with the first 2 events taking place at Level 11, which is where this photo is, and the third one at a place called Last Level, which is a gaming lounge in Fenton. I felt that place would be a great finale, since naturally it's a social setting and there's a gaming theme. And then I remember thinking to myself, when after the first event, I saw two participants who never met, were playing games, all of a sudden started to connect. They were laughing, telling stories, and I thought, this project's working. It had nothing to do with the controllers in their hand. It was just two people connecting in a human way. Particularly with that specific event, the two individuals both could relate to each other. They had spinal cord injuries, and one participant, I remember, pulled out his phone and was showing us video of the muscle spasms he experiences, a symptom that comes along with spinal cord injury. And what was cool about that is as soon as he pulled that out and he showed one of the other participants, they immediately related and they started talking about other treatments that they have gone through that worked for them. A caregiver even jumped in and validated the treatment, and from there they were just connecting. This wasn't planned. This wasn't a big program. This wasn't an intervention. It was just people being people, connecting in a way that had nothing to do with the games or the controllers in their hands. I realized after that as an OT, I felt that this is definitely something I want to do. I realized I want to help build communities and just help people feel that sense of belonging, feeling like they're connected, which gives them meaning and purpose in life. I will say though, one of the biggest challenges was recruitment. That sucked. I had such a hard time recruiting. We ended up with a small group, but honestly, I think it was more impactful based on, or I should say compared to a larger group, since smaller group led to deeper conversations and more personal connection. Overall, I was pretty proud of this project. I also thought it was a great place where OT fits in, since OT is basically helping support people in meaningful occupations. And for those who don't know, occupation in the world of OT is just anything that occupies your time. And as I previously stated, if you support people in meaningful occupations, you support their overall health and well-being. And yeah, I guess one last thing I just wanted to say is, some people would ask me, what's the difference between fieldwork and Capstone? Because fieldwork, you're literally in there doing occupational therapy. I would tell them, yeah, you're right, I experienced what occupational therapy is like. I realized I could do it. But the Capstone project, honestly, was the first time I realized I'd become an occupational therapist. Thank you. That's all I have. Any questions? Yes, Dr. Creston.
So I had the privilege of being Jason's initial mentor towards this project. So we had lots of great conversations about what he was envisioning. What I love the most about everything you said, but that you were able to take your program from inside a rehab center into the community, which is really our goal, right? Is to get our clients out of the rehab center and into that community. What was the biggest challenge to that?
Well, I did, as I said, definitely recruitment. I went around to other clinics in the area, left flyers. I even spoke with therapy directors. I even had an interest form where people filled out but never showed. So I think it just goes back to recruitment. I think people, they would see the idea of gaming and maybe they thought, oh, cool, gaming, but I think one thing that definitely connected with them, just from what I saw from the interest form and talking to patients at level 11, is they like the idea of meeting new people. And a lot of them would say, like, I'm not interested in gaming, but I like this idea of possibly meeting someone new and making friends. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks.
Dr. Renner.
I'm so proud of you, Jason, and I'm so proud that you're proud of your project. You really should have, you have something cool to stand behind, so congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you feel like you can carry over some of the skills you developed or this social participation framework into practice as an OT, even if it's in like a traditional rehab system?
I think so what's interesting about this here, this was actually at the physical therapy place. This was the OT conference room. So I think just kind of connecting with therapists, because I did that a lot at level 11. I was talking to therapists, getting to know them, letting them know about my project is, same with patients. So I think if I just take that approach and let them know, hey, this is something I'm thinking about, would you guys be interested? I think this is a great way to help support socialization, mental health, and like I said, just helping you feel meaningful again. I think that's the way to do it. Although it does take me back to how I try to recruit from outside, that I still would probably work on. there are some things I think with the perhaps the way I presented myself or even the interest for me, I could have asked some different questions. The directors of therapy that I spoke to, a lot of them were interested. You know, they come out and they greet you and they're all happy and it seemed like, oh yeah, it's an awesome idea, and then you never hear from them again. So yeah, that's something I would definitely need to work on. But I think I could bring this into a setting. I remember, so Matt mentioned to me how to try to avoid like inpatient settings, because patients spend so much time in hospitals, et cetera, that they probably won't want to come in for a social event where they're being treated. So I think that's one thing I actually liked about the final event, that it was in what I call like a natural social setting, last level. And it kind of sparked ideas for other places in the future. Actually, a patient gave me this idea of maybe, for example, like March Madness, having people go to, I don't know, B-dubs or something and just watch a game and hang out and talk, things like that.